Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of Evil Walks Among Us. Your host, Jonathan, interviews Dr. Jeffrey Checker, a supernatural investigator, author, and film producer, on various subjects involving the supernatural. Today's supernatural topic is portals. Are portals real, or is evil already walking among us? Please join us.
Hello, and thank you for joining us on this episode of Evil Walks Among Us. Today, I always have with me Jeff. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Jonathan. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for always being here, because without you, there'd be no podcast. So, and I'm always here too, Jonathan Dano. But today is going to be, we're not sure how long or short this may be, but it's a topic that needs to be covered. And so this is going to be cool. This one's portals. So I guess first, like, Jeff, what do people think these are? And then where are you going to come from at what they are?
Well, portals are thought to be some type of an energy field that is created within our environment here on Earth, while a sort of like a black hole, I guess, right? Where things can pass, objects can pass back and forth from one in a portal, in a black hole. My understanding is that the theory behind that, and string theory and all that, is that if a black hole opens up, you can actually move from one linear time length of time to another linear length of time, right?
Where yeah, like some sort of wormhole thing or something.
Yeah, where a portal, I guess, would be more of people think that these spirits and demons or monsters or what have you, aliens, are in a multi-universe, and in that universe they're transporting themselves over to our universe without having to use some type of spacecraft, right? They can literally open up a door from wherever they're at to wherever they choose to go, or wherever this supposed portal is, and then come back and forth.
Okay. All right. And now you said one thing that was interesting a couple of times in these episodes, that kind of in passing, we didn't really cover it heavily, but I think this would be interesting to talk about. Is you said before, like, look, if there's going to be a place that has heavy activity, then more demons are going to show up. So if you have a place where, if a place is to the point where they're charging money to enter in and to, ghost hunt or whatever, and, if it's like everyone has to go there, right? If it's that kind of thing, then everyone's giving this place all this attention. And so that's going to bring way more, company to that place.
In company, you mean other spirits, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that their biggest glory is when people are paying attention to them, right?
Yeah.
Either negatively or positively. I don't think they care.
Yeah.
For reading scripture, Satan was the most beautiful creature God had ever made, and it went to his head, and he became prideful, and he decided that he was going to take him over, right? The creation is going to take over the creator. Yeah. And he convinced a third of the other angels in heaven that he could do it, and they were going to back him. And then the scripture says that God literally booted him out of heaven through the spiritual war that was led by the archangel Michael. And that Jesus himself said that he saw Satan hit the earth so hard it was like lightning, so fast, pow. And so my understanding is that they roam the earth already, and actually a portal is not something that they need. They're already here. I mean, they don't need to come from some other parallel universe or some time frame that we're not aware exists. I mean, they're already here.
So, and you were saying something interesting, like, kind of before we started the interview, how you're saying that, look, that demons are tricky, right? That they want to fool you or whatever. And so he's like, they could be copying the very thing that we've been feeding them or whatever. Like, oh, portal. Oh, that's a good idea. Portals. All right. Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
again, my humble opinion from years of experience working in this field, I've come to the conclusion that they, being demons, will they'll go ahead and appease a person. If you think that portals exist and they discuss it among themselves, they'll say, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's start making it look like we're coming in through these portals. When in reality, all they're doing is manipulating the environment around them and, going from invisibility to where you can sight them and then leaving and then leaving again through invisibility means not through a portal to some other dimension,
Yeah. No,
I
it's
mean,
true.
scripture even indicates that Satan is the prince of the earthly heavens. And so, anything that I've read, anyways, in scripture indicates to me that they roam the earth and they're here. And they will use any means necessary to divert our attention from God to them because of their pride and their sinful nature.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting. I don't really know if there is anything else to cover on this then.
Well, I mean, I'd like to bring up a few examples from scripture.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Again, Jesus said he saw Satan hit the earth like lightning, and he was an observer of what God the Father had done to him by kicking him out of heaven. And then God, in his infinite wisdom, allows Satan to approach him one time in the book of Job. And God says to Satan, where have you come from? And Satan answered the Lord, from roaming throughout the earth, going back and forth on it, seeking someone to devour. He didn't say, well, I was over here on Pluto and got bored, and then I portaled myself over to Saturn, and then I decided I was going to go and hang out on the earth for a while, so I opened up a portal over there in the Skinwalker Ranch and came through. And, I mean, he said, I've been on the earth where you threw me, here I am.
That's a very good point.
Well, and then again, I mean, people are, experiencing problems in their house with activity. 99% of the time, you never hear them say, well, I think I opened up some kind of portal. They usually say,
true.
I'm not really sure what occurred, and that's why we have to investigate,
Yeah.
So.
No. I guess this is going to be it for portals, but it's something to think of. I don't see too many people talk about it. I mean, I've obviously heard it mentioned, but I'm not sure if this topic is heavily covered by a lot of people. And it's always kind of briefly mentioned, but I've never seen anyone really dive deep into it.
Yeah, it's because, if you follow a secular perspective, i.e., you wish to have science answer all your questions for you, we're not at a point scientifically where we can 100% say with 100% certainty that portals do indeed exist, and here's how they're created, and here's where they go when you step into one, But the Bible seems to be very clear about it, and it's been around for 10,000 years, or maybe a little less. But it's been around for a lot longer than any modern day scientist has ever been. So, again, my opinion, it falls parallel with Scripture.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. Very interesting stuff. Like I said, I love seeing these angles compared to one another, because again, it just sheds a whole new light onto it.
And it's not to say that I don't have any scientific perspective, because I do. I mean, I'm very curious about how our universe functions and how it works. And I'm sure there are a lot of topics out there that scientists have come to some very great theories, and not only theories, but conclusions that have helped mankind. But when it comes to the spirit world, I don't think there's really going to be a scientific answer to that.
No, you're right. I think it was actually Frank Zappa, of all people. I might forget how he worded it, and it's actually the whole punchline and everything. But he essentially was saying that in the future, it might seem like we're advancing, like with technology and stuff. He's like, but really what happens is when we advance, we take the unknown and we're able to explain it. And so like we get like better vocabulary or better understanding of things. And then what seemed to be this magical, unexplainable thing we now call gravity. Or like, it's like examples like that. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like,
right.
so it's interesting to look at it that way too.
And I would love to, have scientists come up with some solid evidence of what goes on in the spirit world, because I can guarantee that it would fall in my favor. And I'm not saying that to brag or gloat. I've experienced this stuff for almost 50 years. I've been working in the spirit realm for almost 50 years, and I have seen things that I wouldn't wish on anybody. I've experienced things that I wouldn't wish on anybody. That's what got me to study scripture in the first place, because I was going around talking with people, getting their opinions when all this first started. I was researching things in the library scientifically, trying to figure out what might be causing these things, using logic, always considering logic to dictate everything, only because when you use logic, you're limited to your amount of knowledge that you have at your disposal, right?
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with faith. And then I had to turn to faith, somewhat like Vicky, being considered mentally ill, and she wasn't, just because she just didn't have the Lord in her life, and she'd open up this account with these demons by allowing them in her life, this tampering. It's kind of the same thing. I would not know now what I do know if I hadn't gone through it, but then I had to turn to God and his word to figure out why I was going through it and what was really going on behind the scenes. The scripture says that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against spiritual powers and authorities in the heavens and on the earth. And that's what we're fighting here, these invisible creatures that are hell bent, to take us to hell with them. They've already lost hope, because God has given them an unsurpassable judgment where they are not allowed ever to reside in heaven. They know they're going to hell. And so what better way to hurt the Lord than to take all the creatures that he created and loves to hell with them, And that's their primary goal, which are the 3 stages of demonism.
Okay. All right. Is that going to be? No, that's not the next episode. There's another one before that. No, this is all good. Very good stuff. You want to end it and wrap this up here then, Jeff?
Sure.
All right. Awesome. So this is all interesting attachments. What's the next episode? Do you remember? Do you have it in front of you?
Curses.
Ooh, very interesting. All right. So, all right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading. Again, Evil Walks Among Us is going to be a link to the website and the show notes and everything. Reach out to us if you have questions. Get a hold of Jeff. And everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Talk to you next episode. See ya.
Bye-bye.
This has been a 777 production. Copyright 2022. You can purchase Jeff's books on Amazon.com, in either hard copy or Kindle. Just search for Jeffrey Checker in the search bar. Be sure to watch for Jeff's movies, Examining Eloise, and The Haunting at the Old Mill, coming to a streaming platform soon. You can also search for the Demon Hunter Society, as there is a website and Facebook page for contact information.